What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the ForneverWorld podcast. I am your host, ForneverWorld, alongside my co-host and very good friend, Daniel Santos, aka Shintai, aka, if you want to be specific, Shintai Reviews. Shintai, tell the people what's going on, what's up, what's poppin'?
I didn't you forget, aka Dirty Daddy?
We got Dirty Daddy with us, lad. Oh shit, we're too early in the episode for the jokes, lad. There's not enough Inuyasha in the house yet.
It's never too early for the jokes, or for Dirty Daddy.
Or for Inuyasha. Oh shit, we're at episode 14, which is wild. We're really getting up there in the numbers. It feels like we just started this bad boy and we're already in the double digits. Let's keep on trucking along.
I can't believe it, but we're gonna keep going. This train ain't stopping.
We're running these trains on, bitches. No. All right, people.
Off the rails.
Right into the fucking side of the barriers, lad. No. So today's first topic we got is kind of a bit of a broad topic with several, I guess, points of nuance to it. It's not just a blanket topic or whatnot. Because I was thinking, see, here's where I came to this topic and it kind of caught my interest. It started off with me thinking about, hey, guess what, guys? The series that I talk about in almost every fucking video, because for some reason I just can't shut up about it. Naruto! Hey! No.
Oh my god! I never would have expected that. I thought you were going to talk about Fruits Basket.
Hey, I love Fruits Basket, okay? That shit is awesome. Relax.
Hey,
relax.
I ain't throwing shade. Fruits Basket's really good.
It is. That's funny enough. That was the very first manga I ever purchased. The hardcover Fruits Basket.
Shit, I think the first one for me was Love Hina. That was definitely the first one.
Oh man, that's a classic harem.
Uh-huh. I remember at the time, like, I was in middle school, and it was, like, a whole new world for me at the time. I was like, manga's amazing! Like,
you couldn't stop fapping, huh?
Yo, man. That shit was red by the end of the day.
What was the name of the chick with the one hair standing up?
Dude, I don't fucking remember. It was like 15 years ago.
Not Mina. Naru?
Naru.
Yes, I remember.
Naru. Her name was Naru Narusagawa. I think that was.
Yo, this was just amazing what we just did. We just somewhat quickly transitioned from Naruto to Naru.
Yeah.
I can't stop, mate. I love it.
Dude, I just need to say this. So, like, the first volume of Love Hina that I read was, like, the third or the fourth one. And I didn't know at the time that you were supposed to read them from right to left.
Oh, no.
So, I was completely fucking lost. I had no idea what was going on because it was the third volume. And I read the whole thing in the wrong way. And I was just like, what the fuck was this? Like, it was kind of cool. Like, I think I liked it, but I didn't understand anything.
You just love the jiggle physics.
Hell yeah.
So, like, going back to Naruto. Naruto, I'm on my way. No.
Sakura, the beautiful. Sasuke, he's so
my
cool.
God. 俺はItachi kun Naruto. Okay, we're getting too silly here. That's the German opening of Naruto, by the way. Terrible,
look
great.
It up. Look it up. It's amazing.
And the Eddie Bravo voice. Look it up. Look it up. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. So Masashi Kishimoto, Naruto. 15 years. One of the most successful manga of all time, 200 plus million sold, all of that shit. Major success. But he went from Naruto and then he took a break, came back with Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru, and it flopped. and they got him out of here. He did about a year's worth of chapters in Jump. It wasn't selling well, and they got him out of here. Mind you, it was really, really awesome, but it failed. So then I started thinking, well, what was it? Why? Because you go to other instances of authors that they had a major success, like Yoshihiro Togashi. He had Yu Yu Hakusho, probably my favorite anime of all time. Major success. It rivaled DBZ back in the day. He ended it abruptly. Whatever happened. Came back. Another major success, Hunter x Hunter. To this day, cult following. Every time a chapter drops, a Hunter x Hunter fan from 10 miles away from a computer smells it and goes, oh, you can fly again. So, lightning struck twice there. Author of Raid Master, Hiro Mashima. Raid Master, pretty damn successful, big series. Comes back, even bigger series, Fairy Tail. His next series, though, is unsure. Like right now, Eden Zero, and I actually just recorded a video talking about this, but it started off very successful, but the last couple of volumes is like going from 100,000 sales to like 40,000 sales and below, so it's unsure right now. And then you get another example of Akira Toriyama, Dr. Slump, pretty damn successful in Japan, goes on to create Dragon Ball Z, the damn near god of shonen. So what is it? Where is the recipe? Is the fault and everything completely on the shoulders of the author? Is it the times? What is it that creates these failures and these successes moving from, again, I mean, if you for 15 years had a ginormous success, there was obviously something there, right? You got to have some type of talent. What is it moving forward to that next series that decides and makes or breaks it? Like, is it just luck? Like, what are your thoughts on this, Shintai?
I mean, this might sound like the cop-out answer, but I think it's all of the above, right? I don't think you can just pin it on one thing in particular and that's it. Like, I think it's like, yeah, sometimes it's the times. People's interests over the years are always changing. Like, you're not always going to be able to, like, lock on to what it is that the masses want. Sometimes maybe it's the creator themselves. Maybe, they fucking, they were nailing it with their previous work. And then the next thing they make, they drop the ball. Maybe it's just not as good. That happens, right? Like even great creators sometimes, they'll come out with something and it's just like, this isn't as good as the other thing you did. Like, it happens. And I think it's also timing as well, where sometimes you could have something that's like, that would have been perfect a couple of years ago because it would have like filled in like the perfect niche, or, it would have fulfilled the certain desires of the mainstream audience at the time, but then they were too late with releasing it, and by that point it was like people have moved on from that, whatever that type of story is, and it's no longer that appealing anymore. So and yeah, sometimes it's just luck. Sometimes it's just luck, because like personally speaking, sometimes I'll see, like, this isn't manga obviously, but sometimes I'll see YouTube creators that make A+ content, amazing shit. Just like, I see some of this shit and I go, how is it that this guy has like, less subscribers than 6,000 or something? It's like, how? You should have like 50,000, 100,000, and he's stuck with like garbage views, and it sucks. Even though the content's like amazing, and it's just that he or she just hasn't gotten their big breaks yet, even though they deserve it.
Right. I mean, yeah, you hit a lot of the checkpoints. Like, with Samurai 8, to give you just a brief idea of some of the complaints about that one. Again, that was the next series from the creator of Naruto, Masashi Kishimoto. One of the things that people complained about is that it was too much information, too quickly, too early. People felt like they were bombarded with info dumps within the first few chapters. and they just couldn't gel with that, on top of it being a sci-fi space adventure, which that's kind of like a gamble. Even Kishimoto said it was a gamble before he dropped the series, before he created it. So I would argue that Kishimoto did the opposite of what you were saying, in terms of, I think he was ahead of his time. I think that if maybe 5 years from now Shonen took a different direction, because now people still want things to kind of be, unless it's a straight dark story, like straight up, like, you know, blood, gore, crazy Tokyo Ghoul type of shit from the jump, people like that lighthearted approach. Like if you look at Hunter x Hunter, how far are you in Hunter x Hunter? You still in the beginning?
I'm still in the early throes of it.
Yeah, it starts off more lighthearted feeling. It feels like, oh, it's, you know, fun little, this boy running around, adventure, whatever. You get to a point where it's like, you know, the famous, infamous Chimera Ant arc, shit gets really, really dark. But it takes, I don't even know, 100, 200 chapters to get to that point of it being really dark. With Samurai 8, it started off with all of this information, and I think maybe if the information would have come in doses and then eventually got real heavy with all of this information down the road, it would have been a little bit different, opposed to the way it was done, where I think a problem was Kishimoto was impatient. I think he wanted to get to that, and I also think he was scared of people being bored immediately, so he wanted to, let me get all the boring shit out the way quickly of like information, and then get to the really cool shit. But I think because the beginning, which it's interesting because our last episode was talking about how, the importance of the ending, I think the beginning is probably way more vital than the ending. The ending is for legacy. The beginning is for fandom creation to begin with, because I've seen countless examples like the Black Clover anime. One of the things that I feel held it back was people hated those first handful of episodes. The main character's voice in Japanese was so loud and screaming all the time, and that was a complaint that to this day crippled Black Clover, because people just couldn't get past those first few episodes of that. I think the beginning...
I mean, first, like you said, like first impressions are very important, and unfortunately, yeah, like if you have like a really annoying voice actor, that's going to turn a lot of people off, and I think that's also why people have created like the 3-episode rule, where like, yeah, we need to, you know, give a show a proper chance, and we talked about this in a previous episode, but. Yeah, sometimes you just can't get past a shitty voice actor. Or not even that the voice actor is shitty, just annoying.
Yeah, no, it was, because eventually it got sorted out. It was, whoever was the director had him purposely in every scene saying, oh my god, I gotta do it real quick, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. Which is like, what the fuck are you doing? Because then later on, you know, you cut to episode 10, he's like, oh, I gotta get it going, I've got to, and it's like, why the fuck did they direct him to be that annoying in the beginning?
I guess maybe the voice director misunderstood and thought that was the tone that they were going for, but realized like, oh wait, that because sometimes, right, when you look at something in a manga page or comic book, you hear it in your head. Right? And the way that you hear it in your head is not necessarily how other people will. So it may have just been that the director, when he read the manga panels, that's what he heard in his head. And rather than think about how that would sound to other people, he was just like, no, he was just going like, no, that's how I hear it in my head, man. So that's how it's got to go, baby.
Oh man, and it's a shame because like these series, like, you know, had Samurai 8 gone the distance, because I'll be honest with you, I felt like Samurai 8, if it was in any other magazine, probably would have lasted a lot longer, because especially once you get to like, I want to say it's like chapter 15, which is what, basically like 3 volumes in, Samurai 8 is great, and it was a shame that like that first couple batch of chapters was what stopped it from being great. And you look and it's like, you know, you go to the creative Dragon Ball, and it's just like, honestly, if we're gonna look at the different bullet points of what could have been the case, it feels like, aside from, again, he made some great shit, luck played a big part, because who would ever thought like a comedy genius, because that's what Toriyama was considered at the time with Dr. Slump, like, oh, this guy, he makes some great funny shit, would be able to make like a, you know, regarded as a masterpiece action story. It's like, imagine you know, a great, like, imagine Dave Chappelle writes the most saddest drama, which I wouldn't be surprised because Dave Chappelle's a talented motherfucker, but just imagine like a comedian coming out and making the most incredible masterpiece, Oscar winning Grammy script of a movie and shit like that. It's like, what, where the fuck did that come from? So I would attribute a little bit of it to luck on Toriyama's part.
I think it's also important to consider, because what you were saying kind of remind me of, like, now this is an actor, but Jim Carrey.
Ooh, that was one of the examples I had in my head, I swear to God. That's crazy.
Dude, he was like Ace Ventura, The Mask, like just the funny guy. And then he decided he wanted to do more serious roles.
The movie number 23 or some shit.
Yeah, 23 or some. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that movie, and I remember thinking the whole time, like, I know this is supposed to be a serious movie, but I was expecting Jim Carrey to just start, like, cracking jokes at any moment, because I just, like, I couldn't help it. Like, I'd known him as, like, the funny, goofy motherfucker my whole life.
Yeah.
It was just so weird.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy. That was literally the exact other example I had in my head of Jim Carrey with that movie, of how he went from comedy to try to do that. That's nuts. But
you know, there's actually another actor that did the same thing, and he was a lot more successful. That's Beat Takeshi Kitano. So he originally was like a comedian, and then he decided he wanted to make Yakuza movies. And at first, people were like, they couldn't take it seriously because he's like a, you know, really funny comedian. And it took a while, but eventually people started to realize, like, okay, no, wait a minute. He's actually a great actor, and he made some, like, really iconic, you know, Yakuza films.
Yeah. And, I mean, I guess maybe it's a little bit different with the Jim Carrey example and that example, just because it's kind of like, you know, being familiar with the actor. Like, you're not really... with the writers, I guess you're not really I mean, I'll actually take that one back, because a lot of people are familiar with the authors of manga. So, you know, I was gonna say that you know, like, you're not actually seeing like the writer or the Manga-Ka on screen or anything like that, but if you follow their work, you know, the fandom is going to obviously expect something from that author. It'd be like you know, the author of Berserk all of a sudden writing a Sailor Moon type of manga. You'd be like, what?
Or Love Live.
Yeah. Even though he's like addicted to one of those fucking
he loves Idolmaster.
Yeah, that I don't know, that goes to show you that some people, they need a release, because like if you're writing a, you know, intense story like Berserk, where it's just like tragedy upon tragedy, yeah, let me go and get into this magical world and forget about this shit for a bit.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the same with like so one of my favorite musicians is Devin Townsend, and like he used to have a band called Strapping Young Lad, who was just like extreme metal, just like the hardest fucking shit you've ever heard. But then like you find out the stuff he actually likes to listen to, and it's like this really like hippie new wavy type of shit, and it's like, what?
Yeah, it'd be like that though. Like, you know, most people, they look at me and they like, oh yeah, you know, ForneverWorld, he loves his Narutos, his One Pieces, and his Bleach. And don't get me wrong, obviously, just take a look around my room. Yeah, I love that shit. But some of the things that I treasure the most is my darker stories, the stories that like I don't really get a chance to talk about that often, like my No Longer Humans, even Berserk. Monster, Vagabond, like those are the shits that like Fate fucking Zero, one of the greatest anime of all time, probably the greatest anime of all time. Did I say that? Anyway.
Yeah, boy, spitting facts.
So, you know, you kind of have that separation, I guess, where you like sometimes you like one thing and then the things that you maybe treasure or whatever the case may be, or your release is on the polar opposite side of the spectrum.
Absolutely. Like, sometimes you just need that thing that just allows you to forget about what it is because when you're so entrenched in something, right? Like, when you come out of it, you're like, I don't want to get near it. I don't want to think about it, you know? So you're going to need something that's like the polar opposite in order to kind of balance yourself out.
As funny as a comparison it is, but like you look at those Disney child actors and how they all go batshit crazy when they're out of that, is because they're so stuck in, like, you know, those contracts are, from what I've heard, ridiculous. Like, you go to work, you go home. That's it. Like, you can't be in no scandals or nothing. So you do that for your whole childhood, and you become an adult. You're gonna go fucking buck wild and do everything that they told you couldn't do to release that pent up, like, I want to go outside and I want to dance crazy and I want to be in the club popping bottles and shit like that, because they don't have that release. So yeah, I think that's actually an important thing to have, to be able to let out the steam of that other side of you, or whatever it is that you know, you can't be stuck in a bubble, which again is kind of jumping off of the topic, but I think it's an important thing nonetheless.
Yeah, talk about Miley Cyrus there, boy.
She came to mind because the Joe Rogan podcast just went to Spotify. It just launched in September 1st, and there was controversy. Well, one, because of like missing episodes, which, what are you doing, Rogan? But two, like one of his first guests was Miley Cyrus. Like, what? So that's kind of why I had like that shit in the mind.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of weird. I was also thinking of Kurt Russell. Like, he didn't go crazy, but like at first he did a bunch of like Disney movies, and then right when he was done with Disney, he was like, he did a Fighting for New York. I mean, is that what it's called? Escape from New York. I'm sorry. He did Escape from New York, and he did John Carpenter's The Thing, which that movie is, The Thing is so good.
Yeah.
Bloody movie. Like, holy shit. Like, it's still one of the nastiest looking movies, but it's awesome.
Now, dialing it back to this, what do you attribute? Is it just that Yoshihiro Togashi is a god of manga? How he made one of the best shonen of all time with Yu Yu Hakusho, and then followed up with what a lot of people regard one of the best shonen of all time with Hunter x Hunter. Like, what is up with that? Is it that he just happened to check all the boxes? Is it that his writing quality is just so astronomical that you can't stop him? Like, what's up with that?
So I think part of it is, so we were talking about before with like Jim Carrey, Beat Takeshi, is that like for some people it's really hard to see these people make like a hard left turn, transition into like something else that's completely different. If you look at Yu Yu Hakusho and you look at Hunter x Hunter, obviously I haven't finished Hunter x Hunter, but based on what I've seen of the two, they're not like polar opposites.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's not to say that they're the same either. But like, if you're a fan of one, it's not difficult to be a fan of the other.
Facts.
If you're a fan of Naruto, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a fan of sci-fi.
Yeah. Which, like, the main character kind of felt like Naruto's son Boruto in the beginning, but it's just like, it is kind of like a somewhat of a sharp left. It's like, yeah, it's a shonen. Yeah, the main character is kind of like he was, you know, he had his own hardships and shit like that, but it's still, whoa, you're literally taking it to space, when we was just in a fucking kind of, I don't know, you say like dated technology of being in a village and just using ninjutsu and shit.
Bumfuck Ohio.
Yeah. and now you're in space and shit. With Hunter x Hunter, it's kind of in the same realm. He had a big fandom. I guess it would have been like if Toriyama back in the day had ended Dragon Ball and then started something similar, he might have had similar success on top of that, which I know probably people will fight me for this, but I gotta keep it honest. And Togashi fanboys, y'all better have my back on this. I need y'all to have my back on this. Togashi, in my opinion, is a better writer than Toriyama. like Yoshihiro Togashi, you take Hunter x Hunter, you take Yu Yu Hakusho, those narrative-wise, character-wise, characterization, world building, all of that, it's just better than Dragon Ball. Not to say that Dragon Ball ain't great, because especially early Dragon Ball is one of the best shonen. Like OG Dragon Ball when Goku was a kid, that was some great shit. But I think Togashi's talents, Togashi staying in the same field, so bringing a lot of that old fandom into his next work, luck, there has to be some luck in that, right? Like, lightning doesn't strike twice without some weird, crazy shit. And but I gotta put most of the fault, or most of the reasoning, on his talent. I think, like, that's one of the things that Hunter x Hunter fanboys scream and praise, is the fact that the way he does the world building, the plot revelations, the detail that goes into each fight and each technique is one of the things that fans praise. So Togashi's writing.
While I haven't gotten deep into Hunter x Hunter yet, I did get deep into Yu Yu Hakusho, and I gotta agree, it's better than Dragon Ball.
Oh boy,
Dragon Ball's good. Dragon Ball Z's good. But Yu Yu
I'm
Hakusho,
scared. I'm scared.
Yu Yu Hakusho's
Dragon Ball.
I'm singing now, motherfucker. Yu Yu Hakusho's better. I don't give a fuck.
It
Come at
is.
me.
Like, when I was younger and I discovered Yu Yu Hakusho, I kind of used to say that it's Dragon Ball Z but more mature, which is weird because Dragon Ball Z, the characters and the cast are older, but Yu Yu Hakusho feels like darker and grittier, and the characters act more realistic than, like, Goku. He's not realistic. Like, if Goku was in the real world, people would say, like, he has like a mental illness or some shit like that. Like, he, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a grown ass man that will put the weight of the universe on a fight or some crazy shit that doesn't even need to happen, especially in Super. In Yu Yu Hakusho, that the characters, like, you get really deep and complex. Like, one of the things towards the end of Yu Yu Hakusho that I look back, and to this day I still say that's top-notch writing, is when it's almost like Togashi was using the narrative to question himself, and maybe he was at a loss with the character, because after a certain point, Yusuke says, why am I even fighting it for anymore? What is my reasoning? Is it just that I'm fighting until eventually somebody stronger than me comes in and takes me out? Like why am I doing this? So that right there, in and of itself, a character questioning that deep into his motives, it feels like, again, Togashi was using the story to say maybe he was in a limbo of, well, why is Yusuke still fighting? Like, what is his reasoning at this point? But also, I don't know, I love shit like that, deconstructing the character to a certain degree.
You could also take it further, and you can maybe even, like, take it as Togashi talking about himself in that moment, where he's like, why am I still doing the manga? Like, why am I still trying to tell this story? Like, what do I have left to say?
Ooh, good one. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, especially from everything I read, old interviews and shit. Togashi was a mess towards the end of Yu Yu Hakusho. That's why it ended abruptly. His health was crumbling. It sounds like, and it's not that he said it, but from everything, it sounds like he was really developing, like, trauma and anxiety from doing this. Like, he got hospitalized at some given point and was still drawing in the hospital. And then now
That's
he won't even allow.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, and now he won't even allow, because it's a weird thing with him that he wants to feel accomplished, so he wants to do everything himself, but he knows that he really can't, so he won't allow, like, assistance and shit like that. I think aside from, like, I want to say his wife helps him and shit. His wife is the creator of Sailor Moon, but it's like he's so fucked up from this shit, and that's one of the reasons why, like, it's hard for me. Like, back in the day before I knew all this shit, I used to really heavily criticize Togashi, and I'll still crack a hiatus joke here and there, but I completely understand why he works the way he does. Like, writing manga left this man really fucked up, and when you are left really fucked up, you normally don't want to go back down that route. You're like, okay, I'm cool, I'll do it here and there, but I can't.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, good luck to him, and I hope his health gets better. But yeah, it's sounding pretty dire on his end, which sucks.
Dude, every time he comes back to Jump, you know how they have author comments and shit?
Yeah.
every week I had to crawl damn near to the toilet because my back was killing me so bad. They're gonna have to airlift me. Like, this dude every week is like some really, like, holy fuck, he's going through it. Like, he should have just ended Hunter x Hunter where the anime ends and called it a day and, you know, went off into the sunset, because, yeah, it doesn't even sound like he's enjoying it at all anymore.
I mean, I respect the fact that he wants to do it a certain way, but, yeah, I mean, is it worth it at this point for him to do it like this and just, like, fucking kill himself in the process? Like, Jesus.
That's that pride, man. That's a prideful dude. And, yeah, my hat's off to him that he's still doing it. But it's unfair to him. It's unfair to his family. It's unfair to the fans. And I know we're diving into Togashi's psychological dig, but, yeah, I don't know. Prayers for him, though, and I hope he you know, gets better and is able to finish this.
Yeah, I had this fucking joke when we were talking about, like, making alternate shows or whatever, and I was thinking, like, yeah, Toriyama could come out with Lizard Scrotum.
What the fuck?
Dragon Balls, Lizard Scrotum.
That sounds like a Dojin or some shit.
Yeah.
Like fucking Goku pounding Videl or some shit. Like, oh, I'm gonna turn Super Saiyan 8. Oh. Oh, man. And I guess in that whole thing, the only other one we have is Hiromashima from Raid Master. And here's the kicker, because again, all of these examples have been slightly different, right? Like, you know, Toriyama sounds like luck. Yoshihiro Togashi sounds like he's a genius. The creator of Naruto, it seems like he just bit off more than he could chew. He was ahead of his time in a certain way, and it just kind of all failed for him. And then Hiromashima, because Fairy Tail, I'm sure you've heard that, you know, a lot of people, they criticize Fairy Tail and say that it's poorly written, you know, fan service for days.
I've heard some shit about Fairy Tail, yeah.
So how is it that he went from Raid Master, which I didn't hear too much about all of that shit, the friendship, power of friendship and shit like that, and then created something even more popular with Fairy Tail that, from what everyone says, is less quality writing, and is in the West very hated.
I remember Rave Master back in the day. Like, I remember that was on, like, 4Kids or some shit. Like, it was on one of those, like, Saturday morning cartoon channels or something like that. I remember, or like Cartoon Network. It was a while ago, but I remember. So it probably wasn't ever as popular as Fairy Tail, but, like, it wasn't, like, unknown either. Like, it had some success.
Yeah, I mean, it lasted quite a few volumes. I mean, I saw like a couple episodes of the anime, and I think I had like a volume or two of it, but I know that it was somewhat successful. But Fairy Tail was, like, people used to put it like, if Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach were the big three, Fairy Tail was the unofficial big four. Like, that's how popular it was back, even, you know, as late as like 2013, 2014, before like the emergence of seasonal anime started making like a wide variety, like which that's a whole other discussion we could dive into, of how things change with the seasonal, which I think we kind of dived into, but I have other ideas. But anyway, how do you explain that shit? Like, see, the way I would look at it with Fairy Tail is that was more of, by design, it succeeded. Like, there was luck in play, but he designed it to the T to make sure it would succeed, because you have fan service with Lucy, badass female with Erza, the happy-go-lucky, stupid, goofy Natsu.
Here's
fan
the thing,
service.
you could also have fan service with Erza.
Yeah, there was a lot of steamy stuff, woo, in that series. You had Gray taking off his shirt for the ladies. You had, which I'm not a fan of it, but you had, like, for the creeps that want to see Wendy, the lowly shit, that was in there. What else?
I guess there's a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah. It had, like, a cutesy mascot with a little cat Happy. Like, if you just go down the line, it had the badass Gajeel. It had another badass because people like multiple badasses. Jalal, but he was kind of like a mysterious character, and you're rooting for the love romance between him and Erza. Like, it was by design. Like, he designed this to the T to make sure that it succeeded. So maybe it's a bit of skill, but more so like a different method at approaching manga the way Hiro did it. On top of that, his art is great. Like, Hiro Mashima is a great artist.
Can I just say real quick that my coworkers' kids watched Fairy Tail?
How old are we talking?
I think they're like 12 and like 10 or something. Like I'm not totally sure, but I just think that it's hilarious because one of them started looking up like anime titties on his computer, and he walked in on him, and the kid said like, "Dad, wait," and he was like, "What do you mean, wait?"
Yo, that's great. Oh shit.
And then I remember I was telling him like, "Man, don't take away your son's anime titties. It's all he's got left. don't take away the boy's anime titties."
Oh shit, that's great. I mean, at that age, I guess, well, he kind of struck into the gold mine there, but at that age, you're still not like, especially like 10. I don't think you're really like gonna notice much of like you're gonna look at it more as when you're younger, like 7, 8. Again, depending on what you've been exposed to up to that point. If you watch Fairy Tail, you're gonna more so look at like the fan service moments, like Natsu flying into Lucy's tits, as just like goofy and funny. You're not gonna really understand the sexual innuendo that is really there until you're a little bit older. So I'd say, the 12-year-old, again, clearly he was
he was all about it.
he wanted to get into that heartophilia, Lucy. Oh shit. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think we did a really nice breakdown of the different ways of lightning striking twice, the methods. We tackled 4 different variations of jumping from your first series to your next. There's one other one I just want to quickly insert there before we wrap this topic up. Rumiko Takahashi. Are you familiar with Rumiko Takahashi, Shintai?
The name sounds very fucking familiar.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet, huh? Sit, boy.
Oh, I knew it. I fucking. What about her?
No, because
she did Rama 1/2, and then she did Inuyasha, 2 bangers right after another, huge successes. Whoop-de-fucking do.
No, she had Maisani Koku. That was and this is, we're talking about probably 70s or 80s. Maisani Koku, then Ranma, then Inuyasha, and I don't know if there was one in between or whatever. But here's the interesting thing. Since Inuyasha, she hasn't been able to strike gold anymore. Inuyasha was the last major hit she's had, and she's had 2 or 3 series since Inuyasha, one of which I'm 100% sure had an anime adaptation, and I'm not sure about the other 1 or 2, but I know for sure there was one that had an anime adaptation. It was like Rine, I think that was what it was called, Rine, and it flopped. So that's another scenario of like, yo, she had hit after hit after hit, and then it just died. Like, she lost the magic, or she's too out of touch with the times, or, you would argue if you wrote manga for that long, your skills got to be top tier, right? Like, if you're a musician and you learn all the chords and you know anything, ideally when you're older, you should be at your prime because you got all this knowledge. So, quick, any comments on that?
Not necessarily, because when you're younger, you're hungry. When you're older and you're resting on your laurels, you don't feel as compelled to bring out your A game. You feel like, I'm just gonna coast.
True. Don't want to rock the boat. Don't want to mess up your legacy. So you're just like, as long as I make it, in between a 6, 7.
Can't be busting my ass, making these 10 out of 10s left and right. Gotta kick back, relax. Here's a 5. It's good enough.
It's crazy though. Like that's another different example. Like she was somebody that had hits, and who knows? Maybe Yoshihiro Togashi could have been the same way had he ended Hunter x Hunter 10 years ago and then wrote something else. Maybe it would have flopped. Who knows?
I mean, I don't remember the name of her name, but like the manga for Fullmetal Alchemist, like that seems like the only. I think she also did.
She took a sharp left. Silver Spoon.
She took a sharp left with Silver Spoon. That's right. And I think she also did the heroic hero Arslan.
Yeah, Arslan. Yeah.
Arslan, yeah.
I think she did the art on that one. I think she only did the art though on that one. I want to say.
So she was like a hired gun.
I want to say, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure because I tried to get into it back in the day. I think I bought like a volume of the manga, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was, or maybe I saw the anime like first couple of. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. And then Silver Spoon was literally like, holy shit! Talk about a sharp turn. Like that's about life on a farm. Like how you go from this super fantastical adventure of alchemy and fighting like these beings of like great chaos and shit, and then like, oh, he's milking a fucking cow. Like what?
I mean, in her defense, right? Like, after making something like Fullmetal Alchemist for so many years, you would want to do something different afterwards.
True. The creator of One Piece said that, which he's now changing his tune, which probably means he really doesn't want to fucking do manga anymore. But for the longest time, he said after One Piece, he wanted to write a mech series. And this was for the longest time. That was on record of what he was saying. In his last interview, literally the last one I reported on maybe a week or two ago, he said he don't have any ideas for manga after One Piece. He's not sure if he's doing anything. So he's probably like, fuck writing manga after this.
I mean, kudos to him for like having One Piece go on for this long. Like the dude's fucking set for life. Like he doesn't have anything to prove. Like I'm not saying that this is what's gonna happen, but like honestly, One Piece could have like a completely shit tier garbage ending, and everyone can hate it, and it doesn't matter because like he's set for life. Like he's the most successful mangaka of all time. Like whatever, you know, he could totally phone it in, and it doesn't even matter. Like he could just like whatever, buy a fucking island and live there and fucking like die there if he felt like it.
Dude, he's so set for life because you got to think too beyond that. Like, let's just say, because now he came out and said, "Oh, I got 4 or 5 more years left of One Piece." This is always like a new thing. Like, it's getting ridiculous with that. But even 5 years from now, let's just say he wraps up One Piece in 5 years. You know they're gonna go the a Boruto route, and we're gonna get 1 or 2 piece or One Piece. You know, there's gonna be that sequel series, and Jump is going to milk the living fuck out of that. Whether it's like Luffy's son is a Marine or whatever the fuck it is, like, and he's gonna.
Yo, man, 2 piece sound. You were saying like a lizard scrotum sounds like a dojin. 2 piece sounds like a dojin.
Yeah. Like, yo, let me get a breast and a thigh, please. Thank you. Oh shit. But like, and you know he's gonna collect the residuals off of that. Like, you know, I'm sure he's negotiated his contract to the T with every sharp turn of this series. Like every time he got to renew his contract, it's probably like to the point where y'all can make 5 spin-offs and I don't have to lift my fucking hand and I'm getting checks. Because if not, I'm out of here. Anything else on this topic that you want to add or anything? I mean, I feel like we covered most of the bases.
No, yeah, I think it's taking up most of the show. So let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Let's jump into a quick friendly game of Who Wants to Be an Anime Fan?
Alrighty. So this time, I've got a question for you.
I'm in the fucking hot seat, lad.
The 1997 Berserk anime is widely considered to be the best adaptation of the source material. And a big part of that is the OST. Not counting the intro and the outro. Who wrote and composed the soundtrack? Was it A, Takeshi Kitano? Was it B, Joe Hisaishi? Was it C, Gen Urabuchi? Or D, Susumu Hirasawa?
Oh boy. You know what? Before you finished that, I knew the answer. Because Toki wa uso suki yo na namida shi no. Like, fam, you know how many times I downloaded that song on different devices throughout the years? Are you kidding me right now?
Me too.
Yo, Shintai just try to pull my card right here. Like, you kidding me? I got the curse brand on my chest right now. You kidding me, Shintai? How dare you? Fam, it is Joe. No. No, it's Susumu Hirasawa.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's that Gen Urabuchi?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even hearing the song and I'm dancing to it right now. Wasure wa shinai. Yo, say it with me. Forces, fam. Forces.
Forces.
Oh man, I ain't gonna lie, you just gave me some energy thinking about that song.
Yo, epic. I don't use that word a lot, but for his music, it's epic. Can't say it's not.
That's one of the greatest anime themes of all time, and that wasn't even like what was that, like some background music from the next episode previews or some shit?
Yeah. Like, that's like one of the best anime soundtracks, period.
Yeah.
Like, he fucking killed it.
He did the opening. He did the opening for Berserk's 2016 adaptation. I mean, I know the visuals trash, but like he came back and still.
Did.
Damn, man.
He also did the opening for the movie trilogy.
Dude, what I would pay to see that man live in concert just to fucking be able to rock out. Even if he did like a 10-song loop of Forces, bro, oh my god, my life will be complete.
You know, I've actually listened to one of his solo albums, and it's what you would expect. It's all fucking like A+ content. Like all of it was fucking awesome.
Man, that dude is a god of music, bro. Oh,
he's so fucking good.
Every time they do any type of Berserk anime adaptation, I don't care if it's a movie, OVAs, whatever, bring Susumu Hirasawa in, please, please, please. That is the Berserk score maker. Period.
Yeah, I mean that I'm hearing that one guy that's the showrunner for the Castlevania cartoon. He's saying he wants to do Berserk. Well, dude, if you're serious about it, if you want all of us to take that seriously, you need to hire Susumu Hirasawa.
Mm-hmm. If they don't, it's like it's gonna feel incomplete. Like that shit. Like I'll never forget. Like since we're on the topic real quick and we still haven't had that Berserk episode yet, I'll never forget when I got into Berserk. It was, I want to say 2011, 2012, 2011 something. It was early. It was Halloween. I was driving down the strip of downtown, and motherfuckers were going crazy out there. I did not expect it. Like, I was like, yeah, it's Halloween, but I didn't expect motherfuckers to be going bonkers. And I don't know, it was just like this fucking powerful energy that night. I went to this used bookstore that also sold used DVDs, and I used to frequent there to get anime and stuff. And I remember they had the first 3 DVDs of Berserk. And at the time, the people that I talked to on Skype and shit, like, you know, anime fans from all over the world and shit, they used to praise the living shit out of this. Mind you, I had seen little clippings of this, and at that time I still had that shitty mind of, oh, but it looks older, I can't really get into it. So even with that in mind, I was like, I'm gonna give it a fair shot. Let me pick these up. The art looks crazy, and I don't know, again, it was like, it was on Halloween, and it was just like this powerful, energy-filled night that I was like, fuck it. I went home, popped in that DVD, and never looked back. That shit was godlike, man. Oh,
Yeah,
I'll never fucking forget. I mean, my most painful tattoo I've gotten in my whole life was the curse brand on my chest, and that's, I got a Chinese quote on top of it from Cao Cao Mengde from Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is crazy. Nobody will ever really know where that quote came from. I'd rather betray the world than let the world betray me. But like, yo, remember when we got into that shit back in the day? Three Kingdoms.
I remember, man. That was so good.
Yo, to this day, that's the only Chinese live action series that I watched, like, I think 30 or 40 fucking episodes of, and they were each like, what, 40 to an hour?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the only one now and forever for us.
It started off hilarious. It started off with us watching a single fucking clip that wasn't even in the show. It was
It was from a movie. Yeah. We were like, "Oh, that's a cool fight scene," and we thought it was
no, dude. It was a dude running into a horse.
Yeah.
He knocked like somebody off a horse. We were like, "Yo, this looks bad fucking ass." And then we started competing to see who could watch the most episodes of this shit. And like, I was just in love with that shit. Liu Bei, Lu Bu, Cao Cao. Fuck, what? Gontai? Was it Gontai?
Gotai.
Yo, oh my god, bro. Like, that's a legend. One day I want to go back and finish it, just being honest. Because the dude that played Cao Cao, and again, I know, like, all two of you that are still watching up to this point, whatever. Three Kingdoms, people. Cao Cao, the dude that played him, I'll give it to you, and I probably said this on video before. Homie goes to a war. He got about 75,000 soldiers. He's going up against a crew of 750,000, almost a million men. Homie is laying in the middle of the battlefield on a fucking blanket, relaxing, ready for the people to show up, and uses the opportunity of the placement of the sun to kind of blind the enemy troops to give his people the advantage, and wins. 75,000 to 750,000. Cao Cao Mengde godlike, and his laugh, his troll laugh, when he looks at him and
he does it.
Bro,
so awesome.
Go watch, if you ever are interested in watching a Chinese live action, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, or I think it's just called Three Kingdoms, right? I don't think it's Romance of the, I think that's the books, and this is
those are the books and the games.
Yeah, and it's like 90 episodes or something. Check out an episode or two. If you like it, you'll probably marathon it, and it felt like kind of Chinese Game of Thrones in a way, minus like the supernatural
before
shit.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, shit is fucking legendary, man. I love that shit. Okay, people, so next up are what we've watched for the week. I'm really interested because Shintai told me off mic that he finished The Last of Us 2, the controversial game, and I'm really excited to hear what this man has to say about the Bigot Burgers. Or what is a Bigot sandwich?
Yeah, the Bigot sandwich. Yeah.
Bigot Burgers.
I like that better, actually.
Yeah.
So, having finished the game, I would still say it's a good game. And people are tripping. That being said, I did find more things in the second half that I was like, all right, I'm not in love with some of the shit that they were doing. Now I've had some problems with the game even before that. I think some of the plot contrivances are really bad. There's like this one thing in particular the game does that I really hate, where like you'll squeeze through like a small passage, and then like when you come out, someone will come out of nowhere and grab you. And they do this like 7 or 8 fucking times. And sometimes it's like the enemy, sometimes it's a character that you know, and it's like it just comes off as like really forced. It's like all of a sudden, blah, it's like fuck you. And one time it was a trap. Like, you know, the character walks into this trap and they're like hung by a tree and they get stabbed, and it's like they just do it too many times, and it really fucking annoyed me.
You saying that, I don't know why it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever played it. It was like for the PS1, Tenchu.
I've never personally played, but I know about Tenchu.
I don't know why that kind of just reminded me that Tenchu was the shit. That was fucking awesome back in the day. But so was there, aside from that, was there any issues that is like it got you teetering to the point of I don't even want to fucking play this anymore? Was there anything like that?
It never got like that bad, but I will say that in the ending, something happened in the ending that I was not down with. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it at that. But I will say that like there was, to anyone that's played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Is it story-wise, or gameplay?
Story-wise.
Okay.
Because like the whole thing is like a revenge thing, and the resolution of the revenge is not it. For one, I felt it was out of character, and two, I think it removed some of the impact of the ending. Like I feel like if they would have gone a different way, it would have raised more interesting questions about the ending. But since they went a certain way, I'm like, I was not a fan of that.
Well,
now,
I mean, no,
I will say this though. The gameplay in this game is fucking great, and it remains great for most of it. So, if you're someone that you don't give a fuck about story, you just want like really good gameplay, I don't know if I could necessarily recommend it because the story is a really big part of it. So I don't know, but the gameplay is really fucking good. So if you like stealth games, especially like, you know, hiding in the grass and like sniping people in the face is like awesome. Like one of my favorite things I did in the game was that like I remember like I killed all these people in this house, and then I jumped out of the window and I was laying on the roof and I just started sniping people. And it was so funny because like whenever you kill someone and someone else sees it, they're like, oh my god, they killed Toby, or they killed Alice. Like they'll call out their names, and it was fucking hilarious where I kept killing these people and someone kept running out and going like, oh my god, they killed so and so.
They killed Kenny, you bastards.
Exactly.
Oh shit.
Oh my god, they killed Kenny.
Was it worth your $60?
I'd say so. I enjoyed my time with it.
How many hours?
I think it was like 30 hours, which is like twice as long as the first game.
Okay. 30 hours of bigot sandwiches. No.
Yeah, tasty too.
Oh, give me a bigot burger now.
Oh, is it nice and juicy?
Oh, just a wee bit, lad. So, anything else you want to add on that? I feel like there's anything, or do you feel like there's any?
Honestly, I think the hate is overblown. Honestly, it's not. I don't think there's anything in this game that's like so unbearably bad that like the backlash that it got is deserved. Like I just don't see it. Like I could kind of get it in certain respects, where like if you're a fan of the first game, I could see how like, man, you feel emotionally connected to like a certain character in the first game, and you saw them get done dirty in the second game, and you feel really bad. But I can totally get that. But like as far as quality wise for the second game, it's definitely not perfect. You know, I think that there are issues, but I don't think those issues are so like extreme that it warrants the response. All right? I just don't fucking see it. Not like that.
Fair enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm too, for somebody that never played it, a little too interested in this shit. But yeah, I mean, it sounds at the very least like you had your money's worth, which is the most important part of it. You know what I'm saying? You got your money's worth. You had a good time. There was problematic issues, but I mean, even if it's not perfect, as long as for the most part it was like, okay, what would you, if you had to score it, what would you give it? Like between 1 through 10?
Like an 8.
That's solid. Too much water?
Yeah. Not wet enough. Although there was that one lesbian sex scene that was pretty nice. So that part did have too much water.
Well then, hey. Oh shit. Dope. Any last words on that, lad?
Not on that, but like I'll just throw it out there real quick. I read some of a manga called Guardian of the Witch. It sucked.
Alrighty. Guardian of the Witch, is that like the Shonen Jump title?
Yeah, it was. Like,
I think that just got canned, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I read like 5 chapters of it, and there's only like 18 in total. And I was like, this fucking sucks.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting to hear people, because I do know there was a few people that was reading it. I remember getting comments about that, so gonna be interesting to see what people say. What was it that you hated about it? Like the story, characters, everything above?
It felt like it was going way too fast. Like, within like the first few chapters, the main character, we're introduced to the main character, who's the Guardian, and the girl he's protecting, the witch, and it explains all this shit about guardians and witches and and we're not even really given a chance to like care about the characters at all. We barely know anything about them, and then all of a sudden it's like the main character is told, okay, now you gotta kill the girl, the witch, even though you're like, he's hired to be her guardian. There's actually like this convoluted reason why he has to kill her now. And now I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. And now you want me to get emotionally invested in the conflict of him killing her, even though he's annoyed by her? Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Yo, check out Chainsaw Man. Fuck that noise. Like, Guardian of the Witch, whatever. Chainsaw Man, bro. I'm telling you, 82 chapters, about to be 83. That shit... If it's done right, if it has a proper anime studio, that shit is gonna be a new age of Shonen Jump anime when it gets an anime adaptation, because fuck all that noise. Guardian of these nuts right now. Chainsaw Man.
The only reason I read it is because like a friend of mine wanted to do something on his channel about it, and he wanted me to be a part of it. I couldn't even finish it because I was like,
shit is trash.
and he yeah, I told him it was trash, and he's like, nah, it's fine. It's not that good.
I mean, it got canned in only 18 chapters, so I mean, not that says much with Shonen Jump, because they kill a lot of premature shit within like there was this Time Paradox Ghost Rider, I think it was called. And that shit had mad potential, and I think they killed it in like 10 or 15 chapters recently. It was like I don't know if you remember Bakuman, the story about like Manga-Ka trying to become like the biggest in Shonen Jump and shit like that, but with sci-fi shit. Like when Shannon was on the podcast, that episode, she kind of gave a synopsis of it. But basically, it's like a time machine where this guy is getting like manuscripts from these authors before they actually make them, and I think they're still in the process of making them. So like imagine walking up to Toriyama while he's writing chapter 1 of Dragon Ball, and you got chapter 20 in your hands.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they axed that, so it's a hit and miss, but hey, I'll take your word for it. Guardian of the Witch is absolute basura.
Guardian of the Witch, more like Guardian of the Bitch.
Oh. Oh shit. With me, I'll keep it short and sweet. I watched a little bit more of Fire Force. I'm trying to get through finishing season 1 to jump into season 2.
Fire titties.
Yes, but I'm hearing great things about season 2, and the manga sales are reflecting those great things I'm hearing, because I'm seeing like manga sales shoot through the roof for that one, so that's pretty dope. ReZero continues to be godlike and amazing every fucking episode. I'm like literally like I don't know if you remember that little skit from Dave Chappelle, where he's like a crackhead and shit. Like, that's me for the next episode of ReZero. Hey, you got any of that ReZero? Shit.
Oh man, I remember.
So there's
I remember
that.
he had one skit with like a Muppet, and it was singing this song, and he was like, "I beat my dick like it owes me money."
Yeah, and yeah, we're pretty much out of time, so I'll save the rest that I have for next episode. But yeah, curious what you guys watching think. What did you think about the discussion on lightning striking twice, the multiple avenues we went down on the different series and the different examples? You guys have any takes on any of that? Maybe you disagree with some of our takes. Definitely let us know. If you disagree with Shintai, please adamantly no. Last of Us 2, lad.
Fucking chew me out. Fucking like, you motherfucker, how fucking dare you?
Yeah. No, but if you have a take on Last of Us 2, I'd love to read it. Whether you like it, dislike it, tell us why.
Go for it.
And I think that's it. I think we're wrapping another one up. Episode 14 for Never Podcast, mate. Well, you guys have an awesome day, people. You've been witness to another episode of the ForneverWorld podcast. Peace.
Take care.